Hello everyone, this is Verde and this is the attempt number 75. No, it isn't, but I have been trying to record here for a while actually. Well, uh, we got some new features since the last video because, well, we always get new features between the videos. We got here a new slider on the config which is basically max particles. It isn't that much of the deal, but you remember yesterday we got a little bit of a lag spike due to particles. That is now over. It is programmed in such a way that it tries to avoid particle starvation. And basically, what does that mean? We You'll see here that these creatures generate around 100 particles when they are existing. If we have two of them, we might expect 200. And 200 is actually 20% of my cap, which is not nice. To make that though that's a little bit more obvious, we'll reduce it to 100, okay? This number will never surpass 100 if everything is correct now. And what does that do? The fact that it is non-starving, it makes it so that when a new particle is going to it is going to spawn, it is going to appear, it checks how many of them there are, and it gets a probability based on how many are there, in a way that, you see, this creature, it used to generate 100 particles. Now it's only generating 50. But it is still generating. They are just reduced. They are not. Basically, there is a linear chance of a particle not spawning based on this. Nothing that's special, but it is something interesting. To stop starvation, particle starvation, because having one of these without particles would be strange. I will put my particles back at one. Oh, I just saw something. If you click in config, you see, I really gotta implement a button cooldown or something. And do not apply that to slides because, well, so there is this. We are getting balls of steel, lots and balls of balls of steel, and king of the hill, which is a very nice combination because each balls of steel give me 3 damage in this configuration, and look at that damage go. I would like more king of the hill. Actually, I have my build is actually optimized for 2 right now. 2 kings of the hill, if the game would give it to me, but I don't think it will. Pre-optimization is something that I don't know if it should be avoided. Like, should we optimize for something we don't have yet? I really gotta fix those things. Or shouldn't we? Like, for instance, I know I am losing value here, but I gain value if I actually get the update. So, what we shouldn't. There is some. This question can now actually be answered by math. Which should sum the cost of not having by the cost of not having an upgrade by the probability, multiply it by the probability of we not having that upgrade, and then we should subtract the gains multiplied by the probability of we getting such upgrade. And those are four numbers which I do not have currently. So there's that. I can estimate though, but it is hard to estimate a cost here because it isn't just a cost, you know. I am building more sparsely. Yeah, there isn't the the strategy I would take if I wouldn't consider this second King of the Hill here. But well, I got it because because there are few upgrades, so the probability of getting King of the Hill is pretty high. But we will not talk about that. We will not talk about that. Because look, we are dealing 60 damage for each shot. "60 units of damage." You can see here the particles are doing just fine, but when they are reaching closer and closer to 100 to 1000, which is the max setting I have implemented so far, is this the setting I have implemented so far, we see that they will spawn less and less and less and less. Inductance, every barrier of mine is shielded, so inductance is just a damage upgrade. Then me and my oh, I am not optimizing for second inductance nor resonance. So I have 2 inductance and 1 resonance. That means that I probably should be building these small little triangles. They are the most optimal, but I don't think they are the most cost efficient option. Because I mean, look, it goes from 67 to 83. Yeah, the damage increase is nice. Oh, I love Smite because it enables me doing stuff like this. Oh, I really gotta halt those particles over there. You know, sometimes optimizing is hard. Because when you optimize for something, you generally, not always, but you most often than not, end up taking a cost in something else. I remember in a previous iteration of this game that I really optimized for runtime, but I did not optimize for memory, and now I know that that game would never be able to sustain a base like this, for instance. Not because of the state of the game, but because of the philosophy of the optimizations. I just optimized always for the same thing. And here, in this iteration, I sometimes optimize it for memory, sometimes for CPU times. It depends. It depends on what is striking you as, and what are the costs. Because, well, you see, I put into a little table every single one of these winds values. Their values and not the numbers themselves, but look at how fast it is to transition from one another. But I did not save the tiles yet. I did not save the generated outcome. Why? No, well, that is because saving one or two vectors is really cheap. But saving one tile, saving every pixel of that tile, that is not cheap. Saving image is not cheap. And in that previous iteration, instead of rendering every creature every time like I do now, these creatures are dynamically rendered. Basically, they do not have a render object, they are created every frame. Yeah, I do not save the image of those generated creatures, but however, I do not save that. Why is that good? Mostly because I do not have to keep that in the memory. My memory is hella free. I used to save the entire map, and I still do, but only the parts of the map which are rendered currently, which are the parts of the map that you are seeing. Actually, I keep rendered 2 times the. I also always keep rendered 2 times how much you would see by zooming out the max you can. Now, I do think I'll make that a configuration, but that ensures the smoothness of this. But not everything is saved, so once you get a big enough base, the graphics engine does not start. How can I say it? There's a word for it. Hiccuping, I guess. Once you get enough, like there is not a point where there is too much map going on. We'll actually show that in the end of the video. Yeah, if I do remember to do so, but what I say here is that the graphics are usually not the main culprit of my frame rate drops. The main culprit is, well, particles, that I am a little bit obsessed with those. Look at these leaves here. They generate so much lag, you know. But they are so beautiful. I could not live without it. So basically, the map itself, well, it is a still image. It shouldn't lag, and it doesn't. It doesn't lag. I used to, in a previous iteration of this version, actually, it wasn't a previous iteration, but a previous version. In this previous version, I used to. Excuse me, could you please? Oh, you didn't. Okay. In this previous version, I used to every time save the map in the highest resolution possible. And then I realized, because if I had a 4K monitor and I was saving twice in every direction its resolution, that would be a heavy image, and in order to draw the image to the screen as fast as I can, I usually leave it uncompacted. So think about that. yeah, there is something to keep in mind. However, I do not save the full resolution anymore. I made a kind of smart system that determines what resolutions should things be loaded and preloaded at. So it makes it so that the game is really... Let me see here the task manager, how much memory is it taking? I don't think it is so much. You see, I have a nice base here. I have got into a swamp over here. Which is something. Let me just pause the game real quick and look at my resource monitor over here. One second, my task manager is not working actually. Okay. Oh, never mind, it was working, it was just too small for some reason. I couldn't find it on screen. Oh my god. Let me just open my resource monitor here. You can see here you cannot see here, but I can see here. I am only taking 900 megabytes of memory actually, not only graphic memory. So in a previous version of this game, would be taking 3 gigabytes because of all these resolution. So that was an improvement with... Okay, I really gotta protect here. And I'm short of money actually. I mean, might some fools. Actually, I'm short of lifetime. Look at this difficulty. Difficulty 200, huh? But I got... I did get multi-shot. Oh, I see what you're trying to do there, video game. But I'm not letting you have any of this. You're having it anyway, don't you? You are having it anyway. So, it seems that this video is coming to nearer its end. It's coming nearer its own end because, well, so the thing is, money. Going back to money here. The game has money in order to input a limit on how much a player could act in a certain time frame, because if there is no such a limit, I would expect in order for you to play optimally that you would have to you would have to have infinite actions per minute, okay? Which is not only not feasible, but trying to achieve that is also not interesting. Like, imagine a game that game, the only objective of that game is just to have as many buildings as you can with no limitation. No, not interesting. Having one turret in every tile, not interesting. So that's why there is currency. One thing I am thinking about is, In the late game, the prices increase. That makes it so your actual money decrease in a certain way, right? There is a kind of a problem because your agency does decrease, but at the same time, the prices should increase by for the simple fact that you are facing lots and lots more enemies. The enemies do not only get stronger in terms of HP and stats, but they also grow in numerosity. Look at this. And they are all EMP slugs. These last ones? No, they look like firework, don't they? Oh yeah, you'll see this number has suppressed in 1000. It is because of lightning and damage numbers. These are two particles that do not halt based on how much. And you see here this number. I really should halt damage numbers. Oh my god. Okay, the damage numbers are the particles. They are literally starving everyone out. Look at this. I mean, it's fair. It's fair. Yeah, it's fair. But look, now we got some particles back. There is no way I could survive here. But the thing is, as you start losing, the prices get higher in order for you to not be able to act too much upon it. Yeah, these legs are acting real sus over there. Like, they cannot explode. Do you see that? They cannot explode by their own. They have to be damaged out in order to explode. Okay, there is something buried out in their code. But still, the philosophy of costs increasing is that you see, I can only build 5 turrets. No, 5 turrets now. Because when you start losing, you have I would want the game to kill you faster. Because it is not interesting to lose forever. You know? To be constantly losing and losing and losing. So in order to counter that dread, I do think I really should increase their damage somehow, because they aren't doing jack shit to my buildings, these guys. But anyway, what I was talking about, oh yeah, the price increase. You see the price is now 117, and the price increases even more when you start losing buildings. That is deliberate. Basically, to avoid the player losing forever, there is not something cool to have in your game. The player losing for, like, imagine there are some other games that are interesting in this aspect. Well, for instance, there is Dota. Dota is a game that you start losing in some part of the game. Not saying that Dota is bad, no. I'm just saying that Dota, in some part of the game, you start losing. That's alright. Or winning. In order for one team to have fun while winning, the other team must be losing. And there is something that isn't really true here. So having an option to... That is why actually Dota does not have a surrender option. That and comeback potential, but there is, because if you surrender, you remove the opportunity for the other team to have fun of winning. You know, to have the fun of winning. So, well, this is a single player game. This here does not have to be symmetrical in terms of who is winning, who is losing. So I made it so that I trying to make it so that as soon as you start losing, you lose faster. You lose pretty fast, so that you can start another game and be winning at that. and you can leave at any time with nothing bad happening, because, well, if you are enjoying a center match, you might as well quit it and start another one, you know? So there is some game philosophy over there. If there is someone interested, you see that some particles from the previous game just leaked into this game. There is something fun to keep in mind. It just leaked into the main menu, actually, not this game. But well, I have been working on some unlocks here, so that I do think I talked a bit about this in the video. I do think I actually had something to show you. Oh yeah, 1 second. Let me reopen the game in debug settings. So I am back, and you can see first of all that something had changed. The first thing you can see had changed is the fact that there is no longer a limited hexagon here. That is why you will see it here in a little bit. I will start a match. Really? Oh, never mind. 1 second. I am back. I just realized I just changed the debug settings for the main menu, which wasn't actually what I wanted to do. If you see here, I started a new match. It is still low in FPS because the game is still loading, but you can see here, you can actually interact with a game that the terrain is actually pretty huge without being unplayable. And while everything in your frame is rendered, your FPS doesn't drop at all, you know? There is something I wanted to achieve here, and there is something a previous version of the game would not be able to. You see, this part of the map is loaded at a lower resolution. Can you see? It was actually. Now it is being loaded at a higher resolution as we look at it. But it doesn't have to be that way all the time, you know? In order to save memory, I lower its resolution, I increase its resolution, I do lots of stuff about its resolution. Yeah, I have a lot of money because revealed area gives me money. And there is a small ball coming towards my way, which is something as well. So, I guess that is a good place to stop here. Let me just kill my building real quick. Yeah, there is a debug feature. So, I don't think that this is a good place to stop. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video, as usual. So, until tomorrow. See you.